Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Warrior 3. In the last part, we came to Alefgard and now we're going to explore more of it. But first off, we got our first new enemy for the part, well, quote-unquote new. The Wyverns are back! 80 HP, 2,374 experience points, 90 gold, and they drop a, get this, Wing of the Wyvern. I bet you never saw that coming. They can breathe fire on you, which can be annoying if you have like groups of 4 of them and you're constantly getting like 40 damage dealt to you. Which is why I suggest if you run into more than 3 of them, use parry fight, especially then. But otherwise, nothing too bad. And a nice little level up. By the way, I absolutely love the remix of the Alefgard world map theme they got going on here. I think I mentioned it in Dragon Warrior 2, but the Alefgard world map theme is one of, if not my favorite world map themes in the series, so it's so good to hear it so well instrumented. And the next new enemy is a Scalagon. 200 HP, 3,134 experience points, 70 gold, they can drop a strength seed, and these guys can be kind of annoying. They have a breath attack, if I recall correctly, I forget if they do it or not. Yeah, they do Blizzard Breath, which deals around 20 to 50 damage. They are extremely susceptible to sleep, though, so get that off as soon as you can. I recommend having your hero use it, because if you have a sage, you want them to be doing damage. But overall, nothing too bad. Like the sprites, too. Either way, you might remember the path we're on from Dragon Warrior 1. We're on our way to our good old friend of Ribald. An area I actually did most of my grinding in back in Dragon Warrior 1 to get back to max level. Ah, Dragon Warrior 1. Memories. It's weird how fast time passes, because I'm already done with my first semester of college, as I mentioned, so it's kind of weird looking back in time. Anyway, next new enemy is a Gold Basher. 210 HP, 520 experience points, 1,228 gold. They can drop a Golden Claw. You might remember we got one of those way back in the pyramid. And beyond that, nothing too special. They're pretty weak to Firebolt, though, so use that on them if you got them. In fact, if I recall, the Sword of Kings casts Firebolt. I might need to check that, though. Yeah, Firebolt. So, yeah, use that, because you should have it at this point. You need it to beat the game, after all. Or your fighter can just critical hit and destroy it. I will say, this area, once you start reaching gold bashers, you're in the Ribald encounter area. You can encounter metal babbles over here pretty easily, so stock up on those if you find them. Anyway, I forget if I'm showing this battle off because I forget if I showed these guys off yet or not. Vile Shadows. Vile Shadows, first off, like other shadows, cast stop spell on them because they have beat, and I think even defeat, so get their spells out of there as soon as you can. Vile Shadows have 130 HP, 2,280 experience points, 81 gold, and they can drop a Stone of Life. I think they're also the last of the Shadow-type enemies. Yeah, they are. At this point, there's not many enemies left. In fact, I've shown off most of the enemies, aside from maybe a very few, which are very early game enemies. Yeah. Actually, it's weird. In terms of color scheme, these guys actually remind me a lot of Carnage from the Spider-Man comics. I really want... well, voice crack there. I'd actually really like to see Carnage in a movie at some point, because Venom is great and all, especially in Ultimate Spider-Man, if you guys ever watched that cartoon. It's surprisingly decent. Drake Bell makes a decent Peter Parker voice. And Venom is pretty good in that, but I really want to see more Carnage, because he rarely ever gets used, or sometimes she, if I recall the old Spider-Man show. Either way, we're back in Ribald. Apparently mountains have spread since the last time we were here, because there were nowhere near that many before. Now, in terms of stuff that's going on here in the town, there's not much. I'm going to be talking to very few people, but first off, you really want to go down here, because there is something really worth it. In this chest is the Ring of Life. The Ring of Life restores HP of the wearer every few steps. It also gives you, I think, 25 vitality in later versions. Or was that in this version? I forget. Either way, it restores HP when you walk every space. It's like, I think, 1 HP every tile. And for someone who has a high HP but low defense, like the fighter, or martial artist, I forget what they're called at this point, honestly, that's really good. Oh, I'm worried. Don't suppose someone will steal the baggage left at the inn. There's an important item Ortega gave me to keep inside. Well, It's in better hands now, buddy. In fact, I'm pretty sure Dad would have wanted me to have it. No, I'm surprised, though. Not many different town themes in this game. Oh, well. Poor brave hero Ortega. He didn't know how to cross to the evil island and lost his life in the ocean depths. You know, I'm starting to doubt that Dad's... Well, more accurately, people have been thinking he's been dying in various ways throughout the entire game. I'm pretty sure he could survive an ocean if he's made it this far. Or he had made it this far. Anyway, if you talk to the guard, apparently this guy's always lying, but let's just talk to him and see what he says. I've heard there's a secret passage behind the throne in the castle of the Archfiend. We kind of know that's a thing because it was in the first game, if I recall. I don't think it was in Dragon Warrior 2. You can actually buy some decent stuff at the shop here, like you can buy the Falcon Sword and such, but I'm not gonna get it. Because I'm fine with what I have. Anyway, that person mentioned something about Rubus. And the Armor of Radiance is in the tower that Rubus is sealed in. The Armor of Radiance is one of the things we need. So, we need to go see Rubus either way, because she also has the Sacred Amulet that we need. So yeah, we're going to that tower. Which is why we're back at Cole. And encountering a new enemy, the Winged Demon. Winged Demons have 125 HP, 3,320 experience points, 108 gold. They can drop a Sword of Illusion, which I've mentioned before. They get 2 moves per round, and they can cast Blaze Most. And I think they can also cast some sort of heal spell, I forget which one. Either way, kill them quickly. A couple of physical attacks to take them down no matter what, though. And here's the tower. I forget if this place has a name. I'm not even going to research it, though. Be careful, though. This place is pretty tough. It also has our next new enemy, Leona. Leonas have 140 HP, 3,770 experience points, 108 gold. They drop a Shield of Sorrow, and they can cast Snowstorm. So cast Snowstorm at them. Also, you can cast Stop Spell on them to keep them from casting their spells. Nothing too bad, but just keep your eye on your HP, because they can do some decent damage. And as for the Shield of Sorrow they drop, that is an item I remember being pretty interesting. Shield of Sorrow. 35 defense can only be equipped by the hero and soldier, but it's cursed. Damages allies when the wearer is attacked. I actually think I mentioned this thing before. Huh. Now, I guess that can be good on your low HP mages, but it's cursed, so if you want to get it removed, you have to go to a priest. Ah, well. And Dart leveled up. Nice. I almost sounded like Scott for a second there, huh? And most of you don't know who that is because you don't watch my occasional live streams. You should do that. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I play weird games. Anyway, I know I mentioned this place is pretty hard earlier on, or last part rather, and it is, but at the same time it's hard because of the amount of dead ends there are and a little gimmick they introduce here. The enemies are nothing too bad. The Leonas are, for the most part, the most threatening thing. In fact, yeah, that's the last new enemy we encounter in this segment of the part, at least. So, while I'm walking around doing stuff, unless the gimmick is on this next floor, I think it actually is. Yes, it is. These things are interesting panels. See the lighter gray portion of them? The lighter gray portion is the direction that your controls get reversed in. Or more accurately, that your controls get tilted in. What now becomes right, becomes down, up, so forth, so on, so forth. The best way to go about it, when you step on it, turn your controller in the direction of the gray. So if it's pointing to the left, turn it 90 degrees clockwise. And then press the responsive direction. Like right here, I am not pressing left, I'm pressing up. And now I'm pressing down. Yeah, down. It's a bit confusing at first, but once you get used to it, it's nothing too bad, and we got the Armor of Radiance. The Armor of Radiance, once I get on the proper page with my notes, has 75 defense, I think the best armor in the game, Only the hero could equip it, obviously. It restores 1 HP per step, and obviously needed to defeat Zoma. It's more or less the best armor in the game. In fact, the magic armor, I think, is worse. Well, obviously it's worse because you need it to beat the game. But if I recall, it also gives you the spell protection of the magic armor. Don't quote me on that, though. Anyways, I was going to say, stuff's going to get pretty interesting soon because, well, actually more accurately in about 4 hours, because I'm going to leave and go see Star Wars. I haven't been able to say that in about a decade or so now. I'm looking forward to it. Seeing the fact that it's getting a lot of praise. I haven't read any reviews because obviously I don't want to get spoiled on that. I'm going to look forward to it though, even though this is going to be horribly outdated when it gets uploaded because it's usually about 6 months in advance. Though if you want an exact date of what it is, the Mega Man 01 replay started today. Yeah. That far back, even though it's probably only about 4 months at this point. Because I'm getting surprisingly good with uploads. Either way, you needed to fall down. I know I skimmed over it, but you did actually have to fall down and go into a false outside area. So you can come up here. And then go up here. And then walk in this direction. Because it's a linear pathway, and therefore you have no turns. That was a weird sentence. Either way, we're at the top. Thankfully, I ran into very little enemies here, which is surprising. Obviously, I still ran into some, like you heard the music restart at certain points. But overall, pretty solid run for this area. Anyway, there's Rubus. Let's use the fairy flute, which, yeah, by the way, you need the fairy flute to do this, so if you didn't bring it, sorry. Good to see they brought back the old tune, too. Ah, it's like a dream come true. You've broken the seal. I'm the spirit Rubus who created this land of Alefgard. As a token of my gratitude, I shall give you the sacred amulet. And if you vanquish the Master Archfiend, I shall repay you my debt of gratitude someday. I'm the spirit Rubus. I yearn for the return of the peace and of what I've lost the words. Oh well. I don't know what she says she'll repay us someday because she already helped us back in 2. Maybe she's a bit forgetful. Either way, now we're back at Tentacles because I want to head north to a little... No, it's not an optional area. You do actually need to do it. You might remember back in Dragon Warrior 1, the Cave of Erdrick. Even though it's now called the Northern Cave, let's go into it. It's more or less the same layout. Though the enemies are a hell of a lot harder. Thankfully, though, magic is sealed in here. You can't use it, but neither can they. Which is good for the enemies I encountered here for the most part. It's a fairly linear place, too. The enemies are the most dangerous part. I ran into a lot of repeat enemies, though. Until now. Troll Kings. 250 HP, 4,067 experience points, 144 gold. They can drop a Thor's Sword, which I think I got at some point while grinding. And they can cast Limbo, so... if you're encountering them in a place that's not here, kill them quickly. Because you don't want to get limboed. It would suck. Anyway, the Thor's Sword... can only be equipped by the hero and soldier, 95 attack, nothing too bad there actually. And as an item, it casts Firebolt, so that's pretty good. If you get one, it would probably be a good replacement for the soldier's sword at this point. And the next new enemy immediately is an Archmage, or Archmage. I always forget how to pronounce it, if it's Arch or Arch, depending on the thing. Either way, 130 HP, 3,800 experience points, 168 gold. You can drop a Staff of Reflection and they can revive allies. And the Staff of Reflection... 33 attack can only be equipped by the... Pilgrim, Wizard, and Sage. And as an item, it casts Bounce, which as a spell... I think halves damage. Reflect any spell that is cast on the caster back to the opponent. Okay, there you go. And here we are at an ultimate destination. Now, new enemies first. Salamanders and Hydras. These things suck. Salamanders have 200 HP, 8,000 experience points, 216 gold. They can drop a Strength Seed, and then they have an area of effect Flame Breath, which really hurts. They're fairly weak to Limbo, though, so use that. And Hydras have 150 HP, 4,120 experience points, 90 gold, and they can drop a leaf of the World Tree, and they get 2 moves per round, so watch out for that. Kill the Salamanders first. Anyway, in this room where we are, you might notice the crack in the ground. I forget who mentions it and what town they mention it, but it's mentioned at some point that Zoma essentially came out of this crack. Which means there might be a third world of darkness below us, which means, wow, this must be a long game. No, there's not. There's not a third world, thankfully. This isn't... oh, crap, what game was it that had 3 worlds in RPG? I suppose Tales of the Abyss, but it's kind of more like 2 world maps merge into 1. Like, Final Fantasy V, actually, now that I think about it, had that. Either way, we got the Shield of Heroes, which is the ultimate shield in the game. Hero exclusive, obviously. The Shield of Heroes has 50 defense. It's the strongest shield, and that's just about it. No, not even a spell mapped to it. Though I should mention, first off, we're back in Ribald, because I'm going to head to a little thing. In between parts, not only am I going to be grinding to level 40, in between parts, I'm going to go back to Hawksness's armor and weapon shop and buy a Shield of Strength for everyone. You might remember those from the previous games. 40 defense, so they're not terribly good. In fact, they're actually better than the silver shields. If you have any of those, I suppose you can get rid of them now. We'll only buy the hero and soldier, actually, now that I think about it, so it's better for the soldier. However, as an item, when used as an item, it casts Heal More, which is an effect that can be used by anyone. So, everyone now has a Heal More spell, essentially. This is a Shrine of Honor. Welcome, welcome. Now's the time that sunshine and rain do meet. I gave unto thee this rainbow drop. You need the Sacred Amulets, which you get from Rubis, which I forgot to mention that we got that from her. The Staff of Rain, and the Stone of Sunlight to get that, by the way. And with that, we're good to head to the final dungeon. Anyway, I forgot to mention it back then, but the Sacred Amulets can be equipped as an item. But I do believe that it gives you stats like 30 luck or something in later versions. I'm not sure. I think it's actually supposed to do that now, but I don't think it works. I'm not entirely sure about that, though. As I mentioned before, I like Dragon Quest, but I'm not an expert in it. That's me in Final Fantasy. Anyway, this place looks familiar. Let's use the rainbow drop, like we did back in the first game. Even get a nice little remix of that tune. Cool! Yeah, you remember where we are, right? Right near the Dragon King's castle, though now Zoma's taken refuge in it, which is a thing. And, oh god, green dragons, though they're actually nowhere near as threatening as they were in the first game, or the second game. Green dragons have 120 HP, 3,467 experience points, 129 gold, they can drop a vitality seed, they can call Elysium birds for help, and they have an area effect flame breath, which does a decent amount of damage, but thankfully, unlike Dragon Warrior 2, they're nowhere near as powerful. In fact, they're pretty much dead now, or if likely has hit them. Actually, no, he didn't hit him because he was targeting a different group, that's right. Either way, nothing too bad. And with that, we're more or less done. We're right at the Dragon King's former castle. So with that, I'm more or less going to have to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. As I mentioned before, in between parts, grinding up to level 40, getting everyone a Shield of Strength. And next time on Let's Play Dragon Warrior 3, we are ending off the game, actually. See you guys then!